First of all, bit of housekeeping. I got myself a mic. I'm feeling very official. The phone audio actually wasn't too bad, but I'd rather record on my computer for exporting, and my default mic on this sucks, blah blah blah. But secondly, thank you so much for the love on the first video. Aww. I was really scared to post that video. The first step is usually the hardest as just about anything you do. And on top of that, I'm a chronic overthinker. I was expecting like 300 views, maybe. I came back to 10 times that amount. Editing me can update those numbers for you. Absolutely insane for the first video. Thank you so much. Shout out to everyone who left a comment. I did take a screenshot, but thank you for 67 comments when I first opened the video a week later. I have the humor of a 12-year-old boy. On a more somber note, I apologize for not censoring the J slur. I should be more conscientious of my language and will do better in the future. So, you've read the title. This was supposed to be part of a larger video about pet peeves, but I decided to make this its own separate video for reasons I shall, as per usual, get into in the outro. But if you enjoy this one, I'm open to releasing pet peeves. But anyway, as the multi-award winner of the Ice Cold Takes Awards, it is no surprise that there is no shortage of videos about how annoying driving is, so you will get a bit of deja vu with some of my points if our algorithms have anything in common. However, a lot of these videos tend to come from American channels, which, fair enough, because some of you drive like that ambulance ride is free. I'm going to be giving my takes as someone who learned to drive in, and currently lives in, land of the eternal rain and bad dentistry, the United Kingdom. I think the lack of videos from a non-American perspective just comes from the fact that, well, again, firstly, Americans drive like nut jobs, while European countries consistently are on top of the lists of like the safest countries to drive in. But secondly, having a car is just not as much of a non-negotiable in this part of the world. Unless you live in the sticks, public transport, while it has its problems, is far more reliable. If you're a student, your university probably has a solid bus network. Cycling is a lot more realistic. And honestly, chances are you're broken of other things to worry about. Not that no young people drive, because how else would I make this video, but is not as big of a deal if you don't. Yes, bring up 50 videos from Europeans about driving in the comments as I say this. So I will try to bring up some points unique to this part of the world to keep it fresh. So let's finally jump in.
Excuse me, you can't park that there, mate.
The rumors are true. You get small windy roads in this part of the world. Well, I mean, they're not too bad. This is more so a problem in the sticks and in like certain residential areas. We don't really have the giant pickup trucks here because it's just not practical. I'd say our version of Ford pickup trucks are the van drivers, which I'll get to later. We don't have as many parking lots out here. I know Americans who can't even parallel park, but here it is an absolute must. I tend to avoid parallel parking myself, at least on busy roads, not because I can't do it, but because I don't like parking with an audience. So because I usually parking these, and for the sake of relatability for international viewers, I'm going to talk about your standard parking lots in this video. With parking lots, the spaces are way smaller than America, and some multi-stories have height limits. Around 2 meters is the one I see a lot, so you can see why having a huge pickup just will not do here. I have a small car, so it's a bit of a double-edged sword. The tale is old as time, bad parkers. So I actually tend to use bad parkers to my advantage and squeeze into spots no one else can, but usually when I do it, I park in a way where I know I can get in and out pretty easily, such as putting the passenger side closer to the badly parked person so I can get in pretty easily. You get what I mean. But the problem is, with bad parkers and idiots with big cars, is they tend to park next to small cars. Hi, future Razawi here because I communicated this part really badly. I don't know why I lumped in larger cars with bad parkers. Large cars are actually usually really good at parking because they're really self-aware. I'm gonna keep the next part in, but just know I mainly roast in bad parkers, not large car owners. Because in the situation I'm about to describe, it's usually the former's fault. unless they are a large car owner who's also a bad parker. But from my experience, that's pretty rare. Back into the video. And they go super close to the driver's side. And when I'm back, I have to shimmy my way through. And by the way, I'm a pretty petite person and I have to squeeze in like a cat. What if I was like Barry, the 63-year-old football lad or something? Am I supposed to just stand there until the person comes or something? But there are some people who park so badly that no one, not even myself who has a tiny car, can fit through. The worst case I can think of is the gym I go to. The parking lot was absolutely packed. Not because the gym was packed or anything, but you know, free parking. There were like 5 other cars circling around for a spot. There was a BMW, because of course it was a BMW, who is like halfway into the other spot. Speaking of that gym, here you sometimes find parking lots of no defined lines and just 4 little white lines in each corner. Do you know how stupid the average driver is? With 2 bold lines, you get idiots parking badly. You can imagine with 4 little lines. And it's always the fancy cars with the little rear view as well. You have your little iPad and you still can't park properly. Anyway, speaking of idiots and parking lots.
Hey guys, today we're gonna be doing a Roblox gameplay.
Okay, so this section is probably going to be pretty tame compared to some American videos out there, but there are 3 universal experiences in life: death, taxes, and idiots. And if you think you've never encountered an idiot, I've got some bad news for you, partner. So I have a theory, which I'm gonna throw out there from the patterns I've noticed on the road. Let me know what you think of my hypothesis in the comments. I think it's pretty good. Actually, don't tell me what you think. I'm always right. So here we go. The fancier your car, the less likely you are to use your indicators. Money doesn't buy brains. Because either the car manufacturers dwindled modern car drivers out of tens of thousands for a modern car with broken indicators, or these people think I can read their minds and I just have to guess when they're gonna pull out. This especially happens on my route home from work. I have a 4-lane road to drive on, which is crazy for the UK, and a roundabout out the end. Without fail, someone always changes lanes without indicating, and it is usually a modern car. So here's my second game theory. I briefly touched on the BMW driver stereotype. So going back to stereotypes, I believe that the bigger the car, the more obnoxious the driver. Hence our American viewers pickup truck stereotype. Our version of this are van drivers. These guys are on a mission. Usually they're like company vans, so I get it. You're trying to get that bread. But like, you know, if you crash the van, surely you'll get in trouble for it, right? I mentioned narrow roads and on-street parking in residential areas. It's pretty common where 2 people are coming from different directions. You've got to pull to the side and let one person in. Yeah, vans never let you through, here or anywhere. On my street, I've seen construction workers working outside, I think doing someone's front garden, I don't know. And this van just barrels in, ready to run these guys over. Thankfully he stops, but like, I don't think you get commissions for running people over. But anyway. I've seen roundabouts in America, but they're not common at all and usually pretty simple. Americans have a lot of intersections, we have a lot of roundabouts. So just in case you've never seen one or you don't drive, I'm gonna give a brief rundown of how they work using a classic 4-exit roundabout. In the UK, we drive on the left, so I'm going to be explaining it from that perspective since it's what I'm most familiar with. So if your country drives on the right, just flip around whatever directions I say, Mario Kart mirror mode style. Let's jump in. So a roundabout goes in a clockwise direction. The exit on your right has the right of way, and you have the right of way over the exit on your left, all the way around. Repeat, blah, blah, blah. On busier roundabouts, your opening is whenever the exit to your right has to stop. So if your exit is before 12 o'clock, in our example roundabout, the first 2 exits, you're on the left lane. And if you're after 12 o'clock, i.e. the 3rd exit, or you're doing a 360, you go on the right lane. This is the typical rule. If that's not the case, there'll be markings on the road to indicate as such. indicate where you're going, please. And indicate left when you're coming off. If you're going straight ahead, you don't need to indicate when entering the roundabout. When you exit the roundabout, it's standard to indicate left. Got it? Got it. This is about as bare bones as it gets, now into the deep end. So here in the UK, massive multi-lane roundabouts with traffic lights and all the pits and stops are the norm. They're really scary at first, but I actually tend to prefer these because they're usually clearly marked, and again, there's lights to keep things flowing. What I don't love is when the lines are all faded and you have no idea what's happening, especially with busier, larger roundabouts. Potholes are a UK classic. I love when I'm listening to music, typically a CD, and a pothole messes with it. What I don't love is this one double roundabout where I live, you know who you are. No one indicates here, and I love in 3 exit roundabouts when no one goes and they just sit there. Rock, paper, scissors, I don't know. And what I love above all is when there's traffic and someone blocks you from coming out, especially when there's a fat "Keep Clear" painted on the road. This is a rush hour classic. I don't work a 9 to 5, but I've picked up my brother before, and it is a sight to behold. Granted, I've done it myself, but normally I've just missed the mark and didn't calculate to know that, simple error. Everyone makes mistakes. But there's people who, there's clearly no space, 2 cars already blocking, and they just go anyway. Anyway, that's all I have to say about roundabouts, so let's just keep things moving. Hi, me again, because this video was hell to make and I also fumbled this section. I'm going to be talking about ULEZ, which if you're not British, you'll see what it is. I use the term thinking a sane country would use the same term nationwide, but no, it varies by area. ULEZ is what they call it in London, and was the term I knew because southerner moment, I guess. I've only been to Oxford once and I carpool, I didn't drive there. I'm going to talk about I only talk about London. Because if you look up a London term, shocker, get this, you're going to only get London results. But my points still stand. The concept's the same in other cities, so I'm going to leave it in. I was far too into this segment to start over when I found out, so just putting the disclaimer out there before a foreigner thinks we call it ULEZ everywhere, or some British viewer comments, actually in my city, it's called the... I know. Just get back into it. Okay, so cars themselves are actually not that bad in terms of prices, if you're not fussy, that is. But the insurance here is notorious for being ridiculous. I feel obligated to bring this up, but to be honest, I'm actually privileged that I drive a dirt cheap Peugeot 107, which if you're a new driver, I'd highly recommend it. Maybe not if you're American. And my dad is cool with paying the insurance because the rate is so low. I mean, I could probably afford it myself, but I'm cool with spending my money on tomfoolery and whatever. Also, you don't have to settle. You can shop around for a good rate. It's common for families here to share cars because unlike America, you really don't need a car 24/7 unless you're rural or something. I just have to pay gas, and while gas is expensive, my car is also economical in that regard. Also, ULEZ zones exist. The ultra-low emission zone ULEZ is managed by transportation lenders designated to cut the level of blah blah blah. You don't care. Other major cities besides London do this, by the way. I just found that this is just the London source, obviously. I don't live in a ULEZ zone, thankfully, and my car is unaffected by it anyway, but the rates I've heard out of some places are insane. £12.50 a day in London. I mean, I suppose if you live in London, it's cool because barely anyone drives any, but you're cooked if you need a car for your line of work, or you're trying to commute for a big city job because you don't want to live in London, which is totally valid. But you know what? All of this talking about driving, and I feel like I've forgotten something. There's a point that literally everyone brings up with these videos, and I just can't put my finger on what point I was gonna... Hello, thank you so much for sticking around to the end. Okay, so basically what I said in the intro, driving became its own video because, well, you can tell from the length firstly, but the first video itself was kind of ambitious in length. And by the end, I started losing it with the first video, I won't lie. So even though I cut out a lot from this one for time, it still ended up around the same length. I definitely have got enough to make a part 2. Let me know if you want that. And or the pet peeves video this was supposed to be a part of, but I'll probably do something different first. I'm not sure on my next video as I was when I finished the last one. I've got a lot of ideas floating around and need to play around with them to see which is the best one. Thanks for the patience. These take me a while to do. Both videos have been a learning experience. That being said, the second video was definitely easier to make outside the roundabout segment. Most of the reason it took a while was just external life stuff. I have zero professional animation training, and I'm mostly self-taught when it comes to drawing. Besides art mediums I don't use, and some basic anatomy from university. My animation portfolio hitherto, a single flickbook from like 6 years ago, and OC memes. Again, thank you so much for the love on the first video. Absolutely unreal. I've attracted a peak audience with some of the comments. You guys are really funny. I'm really bad at responding to comments. I'm really sorry about that, but I see them. I just disappear into a hole between videos if it weren't obvious. Yeah, do all the things the algorithm likes to see if you feel compelled to do so, and yeah, bye.